The diner was Claire's sanctuary, a cozy corner where sunlight streamed through sparkling clean windows and the rich aroma of coffee promised comfort. But that morning a shadow fell that no light could pierce. Claire sat alone in her usual booth, her breakfast forgotten, growing cold on the plate. It started with a low chuckle, then grew into a sharp, cruel laugh. 3 men stood over her, their figures casting long, imposing shadows across the diner floor. The leader, unshaven and smirking, leaned in close.
Ow.
Without a word, he grabbed the front of her blouse. The sharp rip of fabric cut through the soft melody of the jukebox, and the entire room fell silent. Claire's breath hitched. Her hands trembling flew to cover the torn fabric as tears welled in her eyes. All around her, patrons stared, frozen in place. Fear had turned them into statues. A wave of shame washed over her, making her heart ache with a pain sharper than any physical blow. The bully's laughter grew louder, a hollow, cruel sound that echoed off the walls. A cup slipped from someone's hand and shattered, the sound unnaturally loud in the dead silence. No one spoke. For a moment it felt as if the entire world had turned its back on her. But fate, as it often does, had a surprise in store. The small bell above the diner door chimed softly. It was a simple sound, but it shifted the very air in the room. 2 men stepped inside, framed by the bright morning sun. They both wore black leather vests, emblazoned with the unmistakable symbol of winged skulls. Hell's Angels. The man in front was broad and quiet, his beard touched with streaks of gray. The other, bald with a long, dark beard, moved with a silent grace beside him. The taunting laughter died instantly. The atmosphere grew thick with tension. Claire kept her head down, too broken to look up, until a familiar voice cut through the silence and stopped her heart. Claire. Her head snapped up, and a tidal wave of relief washed through her, shattering the despair. It was Mason, her brother. Wasn't supposed to be here, not in this town, not today. Yet, there he was, her protector, her rock, a storm of righteous anger standing between her and the cruelty of the world. The bullies instinctively took a step back, their arrogance dissolving into nervous, stammered excuses. The leader's hands trembled as he mumbled something about a misunderstanding, but Mason remained silent. He didn't need to say a word. His quiet presence was heavier and more intimidating than any threat. He moved forward, his steps slow and deliberate, his boots echoing on the tiled floor. His eyes, cold and hard, locked onto the man who had dared to touch his sister. It was a stare that could have melted steel. The bully's chin dropped to his chest, his breath catching in his throat. In that profound silence, every person who had watched and done nothing felt the crushing weight of their own inaction. Finally, Mason turned his gaze away from the coward and looked at Claire. "Come on, sis," he said, his voice rough but gentle. She hesitated, still shaking, tears streaming down her face. He walked over and draped his leather jacket over her shoulders. It was heavy, warm, and smelled of the open road. It felt like safety, like love, like family. He hadn't raised his voice. He hadn't thrown a single punch. But everyone in that diner learned a powerful lesson that morning. Real strength isn't found in intimidation or fear. It's born from love and the courage to protect it. As Mason led her out into the fresh morning air, the cold wind felt like a clean slate. The sun glinted off the chrome of his motorcycle. He handed her his helmet and started the engine. And for the first time that day, a small, genuine smile touched Claire's lips. Behind them, the diner remained silent. But it was a different kind of silence, now not one of fear, but of awakening. No one present would ever forget what they witnessed. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't arrive with a soft touch. Sometimes it roars in on chrome and thunder, wearing a leather jacket and carrying a heart forged in loyalty. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We believe that true strength is kindness, and standing up for what's right will always matter. Let us know in the comments. If you saw this happening, would you step forward, or would you stay silent? Remember, you don't always need fists to fight for what's right. Sometimes love and courage are the most powerful weapons against cruelty. Thank you for watching.